equalizing interior pressure with exterior atmosphere. Logged. The commanding officer is ashore. Exo Presley has the deck.
Elder brother, it's me. I'm on the very...
I'm sorry. The hotel is off limits to those without a corporate account.
entering decontamination and transit hub. User alert. Loose contaminants in the decontamination chamber. Access to passenger tramways inadvisable. Departing Central Station. Destination, Rift Station. Now arriving at Rift Station, Binary Helix Research Facility.
Stand down. Sorry, we couldn't be sure what was on the tram.
Can those things work a train's controls?
Hell if I know. I'm not assuming any goddamn thing. Look, you're human and that's enough that I won't shoot, but I'd like to know who you are.
My name is Shephard. I'm the Spectre.
Huh. I won't look a heavily armed horse in the mouth. The aliens overran the hot labs last week. Only Han Olar got out, and he ain't all there anymore. The first we knew, the bastards were clawing into my command post. We had a lot more staff then.
You were taken by surprise and had civilians to protect. You did a good job, Captain.
Yeah? Sure as hell doesn't feel like it. The board sent an Asari to clean up the mess. She went to the hot labs yesterday. We haven't heard from her since.
I'm not gonna let any of your people die.
All I can do is hold out here and protect the civilians. There's an emergency elevator out by the trams. This card will let you activate it. It can take you down to the hot labs. Oh, and if you need any first aid, Dr. Cohen's downstairs in the med bay.
Tell me about Rift Station.
I can't talk about everything. What do you need to know?
Tell me about the defenses here.
Secure enough that you shouldn't poke in corners.
I was just impressed with your operation. Being able to weather a week of assaults is no mean feat.
Only the best get assigned to high-security facilities like this. What impresses me most is the turrets, alarms, and cameras. They're all routed through a central location out by the quarantine labs. One guy can lock down the whole facility. The security hub's the last logical fallback, and we'd have cover from the turrets all the way.
What kind of research is done here?
Beats me. I'm not supposed to know. So long as people don't start dying, it's not my problem.
What can you tell me about the aliens?
Ask Dr. Olar. He's the only one who made it out of the hot labs. He's the only Volus left in here.
I need to know more about the situation in the hot labs.
The facility's off the network. The only way to find out would be to send scouts down the elevator, and I won't send my people to their death.
You're certain the matriarch is still in the hot labs?
She hasn't come back here. You came through Central Station, so she ain't there.
How are your people holding up?
We weren't expecting the initial wave. They made it inside. We lost some good people. Those of us left are short-handed. We've kept order by long shifts and stems. I don't like it, but I don't see an alternative.
I've got work to do.
Yeah, I hear that. Hell! Man the perimeter!
Thanks for the help. Every few hours, a group comes up the tram tunnel. It's actually better since we locked down the elevator.
I'll do whatever I can.
I don't know why they keep throwing themselves against our defenses. Even animals should learn not to stick their noses where it hurts.
I'd kill for a P-204. Just hold down the trigger and zap. Hallway full of flash-boiled bugs.
Where did they come from? Were they in the lab? I never went in the high security areas.
You're not gonna go to the hot labs, are you?
What?
You're a member of the science teams?
Recently transferred, yes.
What do you do here?
Molecular genetics. I specialize in biotic-enhanced allele-specific hybridization.
Think you could translate that into galactic?
It's a genetic thing. Forget it.
You seem less upset at this situation than the others.
That is one of the virtues of the meditation you interrupted.
Tell me about yourself.
I am Alestia Alice from the University of Arraeus. Is there anything in particular you want to know, or should I just spout random facts?
Did I interrupt something?
I was meditating. I suppose to a species as brash as yours, it would appear to be inattention.
Do you know Matriarch Benezia?
Do you know President Huerta of Earth? I did not think so.
Benezia passed through here. You didn't see her?
I saw her. You asked if I knew her. I do not.
That's all for now.
Then I will return to my meditations.
Besides pukes. Should just bug out and leave him to die. Their fault anyway. Bug out.
Uncertain. I welcome you. Cautiously, I am curious to know what you're doing here.
I heard there were some problems up here.
Furtively, I am concerned about the state of our guards. Many have been awake for days, or now, with forced cheer. I still have a limited supply of equipment to sell.
Let's have a look.
Regretfully, most of my stock is being appropriated by Captain Ventrellis. Relieved. It's pleasant to see you well.
Let's have a look.
Regretfully, most of my stock is being appropriated by Captain Ventrellis.
What? No! Sorry, I haven't had much sleep since the attack. Is there something you need?
What sort of work do you do here?
I can't say. I signed a non-disclosure agreement. If we survive, I'd like to keep my job. The location is terrible, but the pay is better than any other commercial lab.
You're not happy on Peak 15?
The outside world doesn't exist here, just walls of ice and rock. There's only the work, the discovery. It's easy to forget why science is guided by ethics. paying for that now.
What do you know about the hot labs?
Nothing, I didn't work there. As far as I know, Han Olar was the only survivor.
Is he in the medical ward?
No, he's staying in the science team's quarters. Be gentle with him. He had a trying experience.
What do you do here?
I'm a toxicologist. I can't talk about my work. Not that I'm doing anything since the accident.
There was an accident here?
I can't talk about what happened. Not here. Too public. Talk to Dr. Cohen in the medical ward. He was the project lead.
What do you do here?
I'm a toxicologist. I can't talk about my work. Not that I'm doing anything since the accident.
I'm looking for an Asari.
Asari? Well, there's Dr. Ialis over there. There's also our guest, Lady Benezia. Captain Ventralis might know where she is.
How are you holding up?
It would be petty to complain after showering off a coworker's brain. None of us have had enough sleep since the attack. Of course, not all of us have guns.
I'll talk to you later.
Remember to report any suspicious noises.
Got a smoke? We're all out.
You came to find out about them, didn't you?
You mean those things out there?
Yes. I'm the only survivor from the hot lab, you know.
I need to know more about those things out there.
About the Rachni?
Rachni? I think I've heard that before.
Where did they come from?
They found it in a derelict ship. An egg. Waiting since the last battles. They brought it here.
Shut up! God, you want to get us killed?
I don't have any control over who lives or dies here. Do you?
If you're gonna be crazy, be the quiet kind.
Crazy? I'm sane. God, am I sane.
I need to know everything about the Rachni.
I told you all I can. We brought the Rachni back from the dead. In retrospect, a bad decision.
Could Matriarch Benezia survive in the hot labs?
It's possible. The specimens were sensitive to biotics.
I'll be leaving now.
Yeah.
Gotta keep the mood light. I mean, if you don't laugh, you'll... Yeah, you just have to.
I used to have nightmares like this. Too many cheap horror vids before it lights out. You're not part of the crew.
Call me Shephard. I'm a Spectre, sent by the Citadel.
There aren't any human specters. Look, Plague doesn't care who you are. This lab is under quarantine. I told you to leave.
I know you'd have a cure by now. What do you want?
I didn't mean to bother you.
No, you did nothing wrong. I'm just distracted.
What happened to these people?
They're suffering from a toxin. There was an accident. I have a non-disclosure agreement. I shouldn't discuss it with anyone outside of the company.
But you're going to, because I might be able to help.
And I'd like to think that the company finds our lives more valuable than their secrets. You know Mira, the VI for Peak 15? She handles the safety protocols for our experiments here.
We reactivated her on our way through Central Station.
That was you? I'm grateful. Until she came online, the automatic equipment wouldn't work. We lost the connection to Mira in the middle of an experiment and the quarantine failed. These three were exposed to a toxin, something we were working on.
If you made it, you must have an idea how to cure it.
Our first priority was getting it working. We were close to synthesizing an antidote when Mira went down. Our notes and equipment are locked in the quarantine labs. Captain Ventralis doesn't want to risk more contamination.
Is he right to keep people out?
No, the toxin has a brief period of viability. After that, it breaks down into simple protein chains. But he won't listen to me.
I'll talk to him. Maybe I can convince him to let me try.
I can't ask you to do this officially, but if you can do anything, I'd appreciate it.
What will it take to get the cure for these people?
The quarantine labs are near the science team's quarters. Once you're in there, look for our notes. It should just be a matter of following our processes.
Talk to you later.
I hope you can do something.
This system is online and ready to provide emergency services.
Think you could run that equipment for us?
Certainly, Commander. One moment, please. This system is online and ready to provide emergency services.
What are you doing over here?
I administrate the systems of all of the various Peak 15 facilities.
What's wrong with these people?
Accessing logs. They were in the midst of an experiment when the shutdown began.
When you were taken offline?
Without my program to administrate containment procedures, a quarantine breach occurred.
What treatments have been attempted?
I'm afraid treatment is not possible. An unknown toxin is present within the tissues of each patient.
Think you could run that equipment for us?
Certainly, Commander. One moment, please.
You know what's in there? You want to kill us all? I've had 4 hours of sleep in the last 3 days. I don't need this. And I thought this was gonna be a quiet shift. I told you to leave. You know what's in there? You want to kill us all?
50,000. Though now extinct, the Rachni once threatened every species in Citadel space. Over 2,000 years ago, explorers foolishly opened a mass relay to a previously unknown system and encountered something never seen before or since, a species of spacefaring insects guided by a hive mind intelligence. Unfortunately, the Rachni were not peaceful, and the galaxy was plunged into a series of conflicts known as the Rachni Wars. Attempts to negotiate were futile, as it was impossible to make contact with the hive queens that guided the race from beneath the surface of their toxic home world. The emergence of the Krogan ended the Rachni Wars. Bred to survive the harshest environments, the Krogan were able to strike at the queens in their lairs and reclaim conquered Council worlds. But when Krogan fleets pressed them back to their homeworld, the Rachni refused to surrender, and the Krogan eradicated them from the galaxy.
Something you need?
I've heard about the problems in the quarantine lab. I'd like to recover the toxin cure.
God, I wish we could help those guys. I really do, but we can't risk contamination now.
We're not part of your defense plans. We're consuming extra rations, extra Medigel.
Yeah, but you also have extra guns. All right, you want to gamble with your life, you're not under my command. I'll have the guard let you in, but he'll lock the door behind you. He'll run a full scan before he'll let you out. If there are any anomalies, you stay in there.
Those are reasonable precautions.
I'll radio ahead to let the guard know. Good luck.
I've got work to do.
You and me both.